All right, students, so yesterday we did line, shape, and texture. We're gonna move on to value today. You really can pick any color you want. I would suggest a darker color is better, so maybe like black, your dark green, or your dark blue. These are really helpful for value. What we're first gonna do, just lightly, we're gonna draw a few lines evenly spaced together. So we'll do one line here, a second line here, a third line through the middle, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do one more line here, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, having a relatively even space in between the two, okay? We're gonna leave this bottom one completely blank, so we won't be coloring in this one. We're gonna go to this top little space, which is a triangle, and go ahead and use really firm pressure and color it in as dark as possible. Make sure you don't press so hard that you break the tip of your colored pencil. Just try and give as much pressure without breaking your pencil. So go ahead and color that in real nicely. And do you guys remember what value is? I'm gonna give you a second to think about it before I explain. I'll even give you a visual. So this is a value that's already done. So remember, it's a darkness to lightness or a lightness to darkness. So shading, when you think of shading in coloring, that's value. So we're doing really firm pressure in this box. In the next box, you still want to do a dark color, but not quite as firm pressure. So maybe back off just a little bit, a little less pressure. So it's not near as dark as that, but still a solid, solid blue in this space. And I like to try and do some coloring vertically and horizontally. I think it helps color it in pretty nicely here and gives it a nice solid color when you draw from all directions. Let's see there. So again, you're still giving some decent pressure, just not all the pressure like that one, right? And we could even do one more layer, and that would be fine. Just to blend it in so you see a little bit less of those stroke marks from the pencil. So see how there's a little bit of a transition going on now? Now in this third one, we're gonna give even a little less pressure than this one. And lighter is better. It's better to go light and then add a layer. If you go too dark, it's gonna be pretty hard. Colored pencils aren't always the easiest to erase. And so just starting out light and then adding layers is much better. And so I'm going around with the same pressure, just filling in some of these little white spots. It just looks a little cleaner and neater when we can get those nice and colored in. There's sometimes where it's purposeful to not have it completely colored in, but for this one, we really want a nice, even layer of our colored pencil strokes. Awesome, so see the nice transition from there to there. Now for this one, we're gonna even do a lighter layer. So to do lighter, for a firmer pressure, you can hold closer to the edge of the pencil. For even lighter, you can put your hand back or even hold it kind of like this and just lightly color in. The further back, the less pressure. It's harder to give firm pressure, and so it's a little easier to make it nice and light. Nice and light. Maybe even a little lighter. It started to get a little dark there, so I'm gonna lift my pressure even a little more. I don't know if you guys can hear that noise in the video. I apologize if you can. I think there's actually a couple little crickets in here. We're gonna get the janitor to take care of that. I can take care of it too, I just haven't been able to find them. I saw one when I came in and it hopped right away, right off. And then last but not least, we'll just give this one a little light. You won't even color it in completely, you just wanna give the idea of color, so just a tiny bit there, and then leaving that one white. So you've got a nice transition from dark to light or light to dark. All right, we're now gonna move on to our space area. So we're gonna draw a little water scene with mountains. As you can see, the water line gets thicker here and more narrow to give the idea that this part of the water is closer to us and that one is further back. And then those are like mountains in the distance. And then even with the trees up front are larger and the ones are smaller to give the idea of space or perspective, these ones being closer, those ones being further away, and then just showing the space between them, okay? So the easiest way to start out with this one is to go ahead and just draw a little line, maybe like 3 fingers down from the top of this triangle. Go ahead and draw a little line there. If you have a blue colored pencil, go ahead and grab that. If you have another idea to represent space, you're sure welcome to draw that here as well, okay? I want you to feel free to use your imagination. We're just gonna start out with kind of a wave, squiggly line there. We're gonna go real thin right here. We're gonna go right next to that line. And then as we get further forward, we're gonna widen that. So see how it's real narrow to a lot wider. And then maybe you wanna add a couple more curves in there to give the idea of running water. So give a little more firm pressure and then color it in with a little bit lighter pressure. Lighter pressure. Awesome. Next, we will go ahead and just draw some mountains. I am gonna see, I'm not sure if I know where my purple colored pencil is. I just like to give a little bit of a variety of color to the mountains. Even though the mountains aren't actually purple, it just is kind of fun to give it a little bit of variation since I already have some blue here. And then I have some green for the horizon line, but I might do another green. No, I'm gonna do a dark blue. And for this one, I just added some little like snow caps in different colors. So you sure could do that, or you could just draw them in solid. Or maybe you wanna add a little value from color. So I'm gonna start out with a real dark blue here and then lightly go on down. So if you notice, I'm doing the opposite color of the outline. So I outlined this in purple, but I'm coloring it in with blue. You don't have to do that. I'm just sharing with you my process. For the blue, I'm now gonna color it in with purple, firm pressure up top, and then slowly lifting the pressure. And even more value coming down. And you could go in and maybe you want to add a little blue sky, maybe a little cloud or sun. You could do a little yellow circle for the sun. Whatever you prefer to make this a more complete picture. And then go ahead and add a little trunk here, lines here and here. I actually add the trunks and then go back and add the leaves once I've drawn all the trunks. I'm gonna do another wider trunk here, trunk of a tree. I did straight lines there. I'm gonna add a little more wavy lines to give the idea of bark. And then I'm gonna do tiny little tree trunks back here, again, to give the illusion or the idea that those are further back. And then before I go in with green, I'm just gonna add a little bit of brown colored in there. If you wanna draw the full tree at a time and then draw the other ones, that's fine as well. I just do this because I think it helps save a little bit of time. It's kind of like an assembly line for drawing. You do one part multiple times and then move on to the next part multiple times. Go ahead and grab whichever green you'd like. I just draw a bunch of little squiggly lines for the tree. You can maybe make a pine tree or a different type of tree with straight lines, and that's fine as well, whatever kind of tree you want here. And then obviously I'm going to do much more smaller tops of the trees back here. And then you could color in this completely with grass. I'm just going to do a couple little blades of grass like that, making them larger up front and smaller towards the back. But as you can see in my final drawing, I colored that in completely with green. For this one, for time's sake, I'm going to move forward for our form. For form, we can draw, you could make different shapes or pictures with form if you'd like. I'm just gonna have us draw a few different forms. So let's go ahead and start with a circle. And then remember, when we add shading, it changes this circle to a sphere. So a three-dimensional circle is called a sphere. We're gonna go ahead on the left-hand side and add these little eyelash lines. So you're doing lines in the shape of a little C or eyelashes on the eyes. Go ahead on the left-hand side. Just do one more layer maybe, kind of bringing it in. So real firm pressure on the outside of that left, and then a more medium pressure as you come further into the circle with your eyelash lines or your half C lines. And then just draw a little sliver of a line here just to give the idea of a shadow. So we've got a sphere now, a three-dimensional shape. Go ahead and add another color, any color of your choice. We're gonna give the idea of space and layering. So from behind this circle, we're gonna do the top of a triangle. As you come to the bottom, don't do a straight line. Go ahead and round that line. What shape is that now? It is a cone, yes. So again, we're gonna imagine these two shapes have the same lighting, so it's coming from the right, which means our shadow's gonna be on the left. So go ahead and add more of those shaded lines. To the left. And then maybe just add another short shadow because it's kind of like behind that one, just to give you the idea that this cone is sitting on a surface. Let's go ahead and do two more shapes. Go ahead and add another color. We'll do the top of a triangle again here. So remember, there are three different forms for a triangle. There's a cone. There is a prism, and then there is also a pyramid. We're gonna make a pyramid here. So for this one, you're gonna go ahead and close the bottom, almost like it's a partial diamond shape. The top is just a lot taller of the diamond. From here, go ahead and connect this corner to that corner, so with a line. So now you have a pyramid, and then go ahead and add some shading to the left-hand side of this pyramid. Again, we just want to be consistent with our shading because we're just doing one light source, imagining one light source coming from the right, so we have shadow on the left. And then again, for this one, because it's more flat, whereas those are rounded, I am going to give a little more idea of the shape, so a little bit of a triangle shadow for that one. And then we'll go ahead and add one more over here. Again, choose a different color. Kind of from the top of the circle, go ahead and draw a line. You're gonna draw, and this one's a little harder, so it's okay if you don't get it perfect, but do about 90 degrees, a 90-degree angle with these lines. Go ahead and bring them out a little further, and then trying to make another line parallel to this line, drawing it back, and then closing it up top. And then the side, we're gonna draw a line here and here coming down. We want those lines parallel to this line, okay? So go ahead and bring them on down, bring it on down, and then we'll add a little shadow onto the left side. So we've got a 3-dimensional rectangle. Now for the middle space here, you're gonna go ahead and draw as many colors as you can fit. See how I did all of these colors? I'm just gonna do like 2 little spaces so you can see how I don't color over the word art. I color behind it. And then I'm gonna let you go ahead and do your own. You do not have to do it in this same order. This just looks kind of nice because it's very similar to an official color wheel. And in fact, before we end this video, I'm gonna show you the color wheel in our classroom. But go ahead and, I like to start from the middle and just do kind of like a middle line. I imagine there's a little dot, and even if you want to draw a dot with your pencil in the center, imagine that that's where all of the colors are going towards, is that dot. I'm not going to color through my R to that dot, but I'm just going to give the idea that that's where that line's going. Again, pretending I'm going from that dot, I'm then going to go through wherever there's not a word, I'm going to color in. So I'm coloring behind that R, lifting my pencil up and jumping over the R and continuing over it. And then I'm gonna color this in completely. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys one more on how to do that. And then I'll let you continue on your own, okay? And so say maybe a darker red for this other side. Again, pretending like I'm coming out, my lines are coming from that dot, and then going to bring it on out and color in this space. Coloring around that R. And then once you've got all of those colors colored in, feel free to go back and erase that dot. So you're gonna fill this whole space in with as many colors as you can, and then you can color in this art however you want. I just outlined them more boldly in black. You can do it that way, or if you have another way, if you wanna add a lot more colors, make it more decorative, I do want you to color in A-R-T, art, but you choose how you color it in, okay? And before we end, I'm just gonna go ahead and bring you over to our color wheel. You guys are gonna have another virtual field trip tomorrow, and we'll go into our color wheel more because our virtual field trip is based off of color. It's so exciting, you guys. But yeah, I'll go ahead and show you that right now for a second. All right, students, so this is the color wheel in our classroom. We've got our whiteboard here. We've got our elements of art over there and our principles of design. Over on these walls, the tables are up because y'all aren't in here yet, but over these blank walls, I'm leaving them blank so when you come in the classroom, I can hang up your art room there. But this color wheel, this is just to give you an idea if you want to look on how you want to color in that space for your elements of art drawing. This is a really great way to do it, and I'm going to talk more about this tomorrow, but I just wanted to show it to you so you get an idea.